How's it going, everybody? My name is TYT Coasters, and today I am going to be ranking all the roller coasters at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Now, this is not an easy task. There are 20 roller coasters here, more than any other theme park on the planet. Every time I go to this park, I always come out with a different opinion of a couple of these roller coasters. So this is an extremely difficult ranking to make. I also just wanted to mention that all footage in this video comes from Airtime Thrills raw footage, so thank you to Airtime Thrills for posting their raw footage for everyone else to use. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. With that, let's get into the top 20 roller coasters at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Starting things off all the way at the bottom, number 20, we have Magic Flyer. Now, I'm actually really proud to say that I have this coaster credit, somehow. When I was a really little kid, I was able to snag this credit, and I honestly don't remember anything from it. But it is extremely small and meant for the smallest of children, so it goes down at number 20. At number 19, we have Speedy Gonzales Hot Rod Racers, which is another extremely small coaster. Yeah, just like Magic Flyer, this one really doesn't do much, and from what I remember, it actually kind of hurts a little bit, which is not advised, so it's down at number 19. At number 18, we have Road Runner Express, a Vekoma Junior coaster. This is the exact same layout that you can find at Disneyland on Gadget's Go Coaster, and it is cloned all over the place. However, it is smooth, it just doesn't really do much, so it goes down at number 18. Let's get the last of the kiddie coasters out of the way. Number 17, we have Canyon Blaster. This ride is actually kind of fun, and the end has a couple of little bunny hills that actually provide a little bit of force. Other than that, it's nothing too special. Definitely the best of the 4 kiddie coasters. I remember when I was a kid, lapping this thing over and over and over with some of my friends and just having a blast on it. So it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's a good coaster for kids. Alright, time to get into the actual list of major roller coasters. Coming in at number 16, we have Gold Rusher and Aerodynamics Mine Train. This is a pretty fun mine train. It's one of the better mine trains that I've done. It hugs the terrain, so it has a really cool terrain layout. Most of the turns are relatively forceless. It is split up into 2 sections. You have the first section, which is a helix by full throttle, then you go up a second lift hill, and then you have it where it starts to meander down the hillside, ending with a really cool helix and a little pop of airtime into the brakes. It's nothing too special, but it is still quite a bit of fun, so it comes in at number 16. At number 15, we have Revolution, the new Revolution, the classic Revolution, whatever the heck you want to call it. This was the first modern looping roller coaster in the world built by Schwarzkopf. Most of the layout doesn't really do much. It mostly just meanders around the terrain just like Gold Rusher, except this one consists of a lot of larger swooping hills and drops, but the signature element being that vertical loop is actually really fun and quite intense. Not to mention the ride's restraints are very comfortable. It only has lap bars and small seatbelts, so it really is a good time on this one. Coming in at number 14 is Ninja, the aerodynamic suspended coaster. Would you look at that, another terrain-based family coaster. It's almost like this park is built on the side of a mountain. Ninja is a surprisingly fun ride. It has this really cool moment where you swoop down along the water. Gets some pretty good speed and has some pretty good forces. I'd say out of the family coasters at Magic Mountain, this one is the most intense. The only problem with this attraction is it ends with a buzzkill. You have a lift hill from the bottom of the lake by Jetstream all the way back up the hill into the brake run, which is not a great way to end the ride. And coming in at number 13, we have West Coast Racers, the Premier Ride's Mobius double quadruple launch dueling coaster. Did I say that right? I don't know, it's kind of a mouthful. Now, I know a lot of people really like West Coast Racers, but I am not one of them. I think that this ride doesn't really do anything. I've gotten plenty of rides on this, in the front, middle, back, pretty much all rows you can think of, on hot days, on cold days, and every single time I ride, I come off with the same thoughts. That didn't do anything. Yes, the racing is cool, I suppose, although depending on where you're sitting, you can't even see the other car, and the elements don't really do much. The high five is pretty good, and there's this one turn on the yellow side towards the end that pulls some good force. But other than that, this coaster just really doesn't do it for me. Plus, the seats and restraints are absolutely terrible. That goes for every Premier Rides roller coaster. At number 12, we have Batman the Ride, a B&M inverted roller coaster. Now, if you asked me to make this ranking about a year ago, Batman the Ride would have been a lot higher. However, for some reason, recently, this coaster has been running extremely slow through all of its elements. It's pretty much void of all forces that it once had, and I don't know, it just doesn't really feel the same. One upside to this ride is it's glass smooth. It's very smooth and very comfortable, so I do appreciate it for that. However, it just doesn't really do much anymore. Now that it's running slow, this ride is honestly kind of mediocre. At number 11 is Scream, the B&M Floorless Coaster. This ride was a mirror image of Medusa at Six Flags Great Adventure, and a lot of people really praise that ride for being a really fun floorless. But for some reason, this ride gets hate. I'm not entirely sure why. It's got a fun layout with fun inversions. It is put on a parking lot, and that does look kinda ugly. A lot of people say that this thing is rough, but I really don't see it. I have had nothing but glass smooth rides on Scream. And yes, that includes recently. I literally rode it a couple of weeks ago. I don't know, I know it's not like the most perfect B&M looper, but I do think it's a fun time that gets way too much hate. So yeah, Scream is at number 11. Starting off the top 10, we have Goliath, a Giovanola hyper coaster. Talk about another ride that I think gets way too much hate. Does it do nothing? No, I think that it has some force. It has some really good positive G-forces in that final helix. It's got some decent floater airtime in the speed hill. The drop, while not super intense or crazy, does have some really good speed. The first half of this ride is a speed monster. The second half of this ride, after that mid-course brake run, is a positive G-force machine. It's definitely not the best hypercoaster. I'd say it's one of the weaker hypercoasters, but it's still a hypercoaster, and it's still very good, and it's still extremely smooth. Is it a must ride for me when I go to Magic Mountain? Not usually, because this thing does always have like the longest line in the park. However, I do appreciate this ride, and when I can get on it, I have a great time. Coming in at number 9 is Full Throttle, a Premier Rides launch roller coaster. This is another ride that I don't quite get the hype around. I think that it's pretty good, but it's not really good. I know a lot of people who will put Full Throttle in the top 5 of the park, and I really just don't understand that. My main gripe with this roller coaster is the ending, and it really does just take away all the fun from the ride. You have a pretty good first half, where you have a big giant loop, and you have a backwards launch after a dive loop, and then you go over the top hat, and then comes the second half, which doesn't exist. Right after that top hat, you hit the brakes halfway down the drop, slamming into your restraint, coming to a crawl, and then the ride's over. There is no second half to this ride. It just feels like half of a coaster. Because of that, I can't put it any higher than number 9. However, I will say what it does very well. It has great hang time on the loop, great airtime over the top hat, great backwards launch. That first launch is fine. It is what it is. But yeah, overall, I think it's a fun ride. However, it's a very incomplete ride. At number 8 is Superman Escape from Krypton, the Intamin 100-mile-per-hour strata coaster. This was technically the first roller coaster to go over 100 miles an hour and to hit 400 feet. However, I say technically because most of the time it doesn't actually hit 400 feet. This is a shuttle coaster, launching you out either forwards or backwards up to 100 miles an hour, up a giant 400-foot tall spike, and you come falling all the way back down. That's basically it. As simple as it gets. However, this ride is absolutely fantastic. The sense of speed you feel going forwards, and the backwards is also just as good. This is a really fun ride that I feel like a lot of people sleep on, and if you go to Magic Mountain and you see it open, run to it, do it. It's a really good time. Trust me. Sit in the front row if you want an even better experience. Personally, I prefer going backwards, but I know that I'm out of the norm with that one, as a lot of people prefer to go forwards on this one. But hey, that's just me. I think Superman's a great time. At number 7, we have Apocalypse, a GCI wood coaster. Now, a couple months ago, I would have said Apocalypse is top 5 in the park, but recently I've just gotten some really bad rides on this thing. This thing has been running rough, which usually isn't a problem, but I've also been noticing it to be running slow, which usually isn't a problem. However, my past few rides over the past few months, I have noticed it to be running pretty slow. I'm usually the biggest supporter of Apocalypse. I'm usually telling my group, hey, let's go run to Apocalypse right now. Let's go do this. Let's go lap Apocalypse. But recently, I've just been getting on it and getting off of it and being done with my day. However, it does do some stuff really, really well. That first drop is great. The seats are extremely padded, which is nice. It has some tunnels for an added sense of speed. However, there are some effects on this attraction that are not working. There's usually mist, there's usually fire, and there's usually music. However, for the past however many years, all of those have been completely turned off and disabled. It does have a really nice queue line, though, I will give it that. Number 6 is Riddler's Revenge, a B&M stand-up coaster. Now, for those of you who have never ridden Riddler's Revenge, you're probably wondering, why the heck are you putting a stand-up coaster all the way up at number 6? Guys, this is not just any stand-up coaster, this is the greatest stand-up coaster in the world, besides Pipeline. We don't talk about Pipeline here. This is not a Pipeline household, this is a Riddler's Revenge household. This ride is absolutely insane, pulling some incredible forces while also managing to be extremely smooth. The elements on this thing are just absolutely massive, and taking them all completely standing up is just absolutely terrifying. I love it so much. Do be warned though, if you do adjust your seat incorrectly, you are in for a rough ride. But adjust your seat correctly while loading, this is one of the greatest roller coasters in the park. Starting off the top 5, we have Viper, a aerodynamics mega looper. This roller coaster is one of the most hated roller coasters at the park, and I don't get it. Everyone says Viper is rough, Viper hurts. It literally doesn't though, I don't understand. I don't know, maybe I'm just more tolerant of that sort of stuff, but I really don't find this ride to be rough at all. If anything, I feel like out of any other aero roller coaster, this thing tracks insanely smooth. Yes, the restraints aren't great, but if you keep your head forward, you'll be totally fine. This ride is also extremely intense, having one of the most intense elements on any roller coaster in the world, with the back-to-back double vertical loops right before the mid-course. Then you hit that mid-course, the ride slows down, and it's full of some insane hang time. I absolutely love this coaster. Extremely intense, shreds through the first half, crawls through the second half in the best way possible, and it never has a wait because everybody hates this ride. Give Viper a try, don't sleep on it, keep your head forward, you'll have a great time. We've now entered the top 4 where we go into the truly incredible roller coasters of Six Flags Magic Mountain. At number 4, we have Wonder Woman Flight of Courage, the world's tallest and longest single rail roller coaster, at least at the time of recording this video. Well, it's not truly the tallest and longest, it basically stole the tallest record by like a foot and the longest record by like 1 element, but hey, it's the thought that counts. Goofy world records aside, this roller coaster is actually really good. It's not quite as good as the smaller scale single rail coasters such as Railblazer and Wonder Woman at Fiesta Texas. However, this ride is still really fun. Really whippy elements, incredible airtime. Unfortunately, it has had terrible operations, running on one train. I don't get it. I really don't. Oh, apparently it valleyed. That's not good. I don't even understand how this ride could valley because it just shreds through its layout. Super fast pace, mid-course is usually completely turned off, great airtime, great laterals, great inversions. It's the whole package, you guys. Although the restraints could use a little bit of work, they're not great. Coming in at number 3, we have Tatsu, the B&M Flyer. This ride is an absolute beast, sitting on top of the Magic Mountain itself, flying all the way around the park. Good God, this ride's incredible. I've also gotten the chance to do Manta at SeaWorld Orlando, and I'm not really a fan of that ride. It stays extremely low to the ground, kind of feels like I'm going to be eating concrete, which isn't ideal. With Tatsu, you're lifted above the ground for the entire ride. Just absolutely amazing, soaring over Magic Mountain in the Santa Clarita Valley. Except for the pretzel loop when it tries to kill you by doing a gigantic nosedive to the ground, putting an insane amount of vertical G-forces on your body. But I love it, it's absolutely incredible. Get a night ride on Tatsu, you'll thank me later. At number 2 is Twisted Colossus, an RMC dueling wooden coaster. This ride, if ran properly, would be number 1 in the park easily. The elements on this thing are absolutely fantastic. You go on both sides, the blue side and the green side. You have the high five, the Top Gun stall, the incredible 0G roll, the double down, the outer bank, and lots of incredible ejector airtime moments. However, this ride is supposed to duel. It never does, because Magic Mountain decides to only run 2 trains on this coaster when it should be running at the minimum of 3. The operations are also incredibly slow, so it never syncs up properly. I'm sure that if they really wanted it to duel, they could have RMC come in and do something like on West Coast Racers, where it would hold the train at the bottom of the second lift and then synchronize it perfectly, but they just don't really want to because, well, they're Six Flags. I don't know, maybe with the merger it'll happen, who knows, like fingers crossed, probably not. If this thing dueled every single lap, then it would be absolutely incredible. One of the best roller coasters in the world and easy number 1 at the park. but unfortunately that's just not how things are at the moment. So number 1 is, of course, X2, the Aerodynamics 4th Dimension prototype roller coaster. Good God, this thing's insane. I already have a full separate review of X2 on my channel. If you guys would like, feel free to check it out. Oh my God, this ride is absolutely insane, throwing you around in a whole bunch of different directions, taking that giant drop face down, somersaulting you onto your back at the bottom. The final Raven turn is absolutely insane. The way you're seated on this ride is crazy. Oh my God, you don't know which way is up and which way is down. I've ridden this ride hundreds of times and I'm still scared every single time I take my seat. X2 is worth the trip out to the state of California alone if you're a roller coaster enthusiast. Get your butt on this ride, it's so freaking good. And that's gonna do it for all 20 roller coasters at Six Flags Magic Mountain ranked. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. How do you rank the 20 roller coasters at Magic Mountain? Is there anything you disagree with? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.